Hello and welcome to the eFresh.com Fish and Seafood News. My name is Kim and these are this week's headlines. Oceans choking under pollution. Vietnam's pangasius fish exports forecast to increase. Salmon back in formerly dead rivers. Fish farms thrive under watchful eyes. Training center for Chennai fishermen. The world's seas are gradually filling with an increasing volume of waste, with plastic making up the single largest part of pollution in the marine environment. According to earlier findings by UNEP, 6.4 million tons of waste is disposed of at sea every year. Every square kilometer of sea has an estimated 46,000 pieces of plastic floating in it. Most of that waste is produced by international shipping. Instead of paying to dispose of their waste in harbors, many captains decide to have their ship's garbage simply thrown overboard while at sea. Shipping as a source of marine pollution is followed by domestic and industrial waste that is washed into the oceans down rivers and then spread around the globe by currents and the wind. Pangasius exports are expected to rise in the next few months thanks to the increase in the euro-US dollar exchange rate and the Russian market recovering in mid-May. According to the Vietnamese Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers, major markets in the European Union, which account for 42.7% of export volume, saw an increase of between 14 to 16% in the first 5 months of this year. However, prices in the domestic market have dropped sharply. The main reasons are that large amounts of exports had been halted and exports to the EU had dropped in price. In the first 5 months of this year, Vietnam earned $478 million from exporting 200,000 tons of pangasius, a slight decrease compared to the same period last year. Dead rivers polluted for decades by chemical fertilizers from fields revive in the north of Sakhalin, Russia. Salmon comes to several rivers in the Alexandrov-Sakhalinski district for spawning, for the first time after many years. The rivers died in the early 1930s. First, wood was cut off along the banks, and then there was the mass use of chemicals on fields. Chemical fertilizers were washed off by rains into rivers and killed fish. Now there is more fish in the Tartar Strait. Before, people had to fish hundreds of meters from the coast, but this season, fish is caught tens of meters from the shore. Sakhalin and Kareli's governor, Alexander Karashevin, believes it is important to develop farms in the region, and large subsidies are provided from the regional budget, including for observance of all the agro-use norms. Fish farming is booming in Norway under the watchful eye of environmentalists. But while fish farming helps ease the pressure that industrial fishing is putting on the planet's fish stocks, it is not without its own slew of problems. Farmed fish that escape, rampant illnesses, and a debate over feed have tarnished the reputation of the sector. Norway's farms, which produced just over 800,000 tons of fish last year, consumed 2 million tons of wild fish. Although professionals say their practices are among the best in the food industry, environmentalists, who are generally favorable to fish farming, still want to see an improvement. The WWF has therefore called for the feed contents to be traceable so that producers know which fish were used in the process. A recently opened training center in India will impart training on seaweed cultivation, tuna fishing, crab culture, engine repair, and other required programs for the fishermen of Chennai. The center will be temporary and will impart training to nearly 25 fishermen at a time. A full-fledged new training center will come up on the East Coast Road within a year. Due to inclement weather conditions, the fishermen from Tamil Nadu were facing a lot of problems. At the same time, they were unaware of the advanced fishing techniques. In order to help them, a detailed study on right kind of fishing techniques was taken up throughout the state and a report was submitted. The center was the outcome of the study. Fishermen are also being encouraged to become members of the Fishermen Welfare Board to avail of the various benefits announced by the government. Thank you for watching the eFresh.com Fish and Seafood News. See you next time.